Hey y'all, what's going on? It is me, Guillotine, and I am here finally with the grand finals of the Jongbokja Ligue, or the Conqueror League, as it's known in English. I am really pumped to bring you a awesome best of 5 between two players that definitely earned their spot. But first, a huge thank you to everyone that participated in this event. Over 100 users competed in 3 separate brackets. And if you've been around this game for a while, you know that not even 6 months ago this game felt like it was on life support. There were very few users, so another nod to the St. Joy team for really revitalizing this game and bringing in a new audience. I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. Here's a quick look at the bracket and how we got to where we are today, and another quick shout out and thank you to the streamers whose footage I've been borrowing. I'm going to post the links down in the descriptions if you want to go back and watch any of the other rounds, or if you want to check out any of the other brackets. But enough of me rambling. I promised you a best of 5, so let's get into it. In the blue corner, we have Marine, putting down a gas first, as well as some workers, and then down at the bottom left in the red corner, we have PunyRay, rocking the auto-generated name that you get at the beginning of the game. We'll see if he changes it after this. Both players opting to go for gas first. A really weird kind of misclick there from Marine. It seems he pulled all of his workers off for a second before placing down a barracks. PunyRay sending out, it looks like a scout and a quick expansion. Marine has some snipers building. He also has some spearmen, goblin scientists, necromancers, and iron pants in his deck. PunyRay just about done getting his quick expansion up and his first barracks. The scout comes in and he notices the snipers as his scout is getting shot directly in the face, and Marine has an owl now moving out. Second gas going down for PunyRay as Marine's second gas is already finished and is now going for an expansion. Some more barracks going down and a tower for PunyRay. Puny also working with snipers as well as hounds, sneak bombers, Vikings, and bats. So far it looks like the biggest challenge Puny is going to have is being able to get around those goblin scientists as they put down their anti-gravity force field and the minions of the necromancers. Marine's biggest problem is going to be keeping up with the economy of Puny, because Puny does have Chrono and is already on base number 3 that's going to be fully saturated once these workers get over. The towers are going to be down. It's well defended. I wouldn't be surprised to see Puny go for a 4th considering the unit composition. Marine has a dropship going down to the bottom right, so we'll see what's in there. Marine trying to get his 3rd base up, but Puny is doing a little bit of a harass, delaying it as much as he can. That dropship has an Iron Pants and a Goblin Scientist, so that's kind of a weird composition for a drop. We'll see how it gets utilized. Marine is able to break up Puny as Puny goes for the 4th. That Spearman able to kill the worker. Meanwhile, the drop does go down and the Scientist able to block all of those workers in while the Iron Pants is just melting them away, takes down the tower. Those Vikings finally do come in and they are going to be able to kill both of those units. Dropship goes back, reloads, and it looks like Marine's going to move out, and Puny's also going to move out. We're probably going to have ourselves a little bit of a collision here. The bats take out a scientist. The anti-gravity fields are going down. Swift gets hit, and it looks like Puny is going to really just kind of walk all over Marine's army right here. Meanwhile, Marine trying to do some damage control on the back end and drop some Iron Pants in Puny's mineral line, but Puny is just continuing the fight, kind of ignoring what's happening back home, sending in those bats to slow down the unit production of Marine. It does look like PunyRay is going to pull back and regroup a little bit. We'll see if another big push is coming. Puny is ahead in the base count 5-4, so rebuilding the workers that were killed in the Iron Pants drop shouldn't be a problem. Looks like Puny's going to try to run up this right ramp. The Goblin Scientist and the Lightning hit, blocking that. Puny does a good job here though, repositioning, going up the left ramp. It looks like Puny's going to be able to get in there and to kill all those workers. No, the workers get sucked up into a dropship. Goblin Scientist really just breaking up those units, making it easy for the snipers to continue to pick them off. However, Puny, meanwhile, is macroing behind this, has base number 6 up. So there's only 2 more vacant bases on the map, which Marine just snags one, so make that 1 more vacant base on the map. I'd say with this map, Puny's deck composition is definitely favorable. He's going to be able to continue to remax and has a lot of speed. Marine's going to have to keep running from sideline to sideline, and I don't know if he'll be able to keep up, especially with Puny moving in and taking the very top left base. Oh, well, no, it looks like it gets contested, just kind of watching the mini-map here. So that last base is still up for grabs, but Puny is moving in, killing a ton of workers, but keeping an eye on the mineral and gas count at the bottom of the screen. You can see at times that Puny is spiking to 10 times the amount of resources that Marine has, and that just means that Puny is going to continue to be able to hit at all angles, continuing to make Marine move around. Marine's going to have to trade hyper effectively to get out of this situation. And now it looks like Puny is sending in a worker to take that last base yet again. In come more and more hounds. Puny doesn't care if they die at all because Puny has a ton of minerals in the bank. All that Puny's trying to do right now is just to kill workers, going to suffocate Marine. Marine has 80 minerals in the bank at the moment, compared to close to 5,000 from Puny. Minimap notifications are just firing off all over the place, which can be very disorienting, especially when you're losing. The only hope that Marine has right now is the fact that he has Iron Pants in his deck, and the only mineral-only unit that Puny has are Hounds, and Iron Pants just chews straight through Hounds. So you can see Marine right now stocking up on some Iron Pants. Puny is going to have to be smart about what gas he has in the bank and start sending some sneak bombers, which we see a few here. Those sneak bombers are going to be able to clean up some Iron Pants, but right here, a very good exchange for Marine, killing a whole bunch of Hounds. The sneak bombers don't really do anything, but Marine's going to need about 100 of those exchanges. 2 castles do go down, and Marine calls GG. That's it. Puny's going to be up 1-0. We're on a small map right now for game number 2. I don't know if any deck changes happened in between, which is allowed. However, if the decks have stayed the same, I'm going to give the advantage to Marine on this map. And a null comes out from Puny, so some deck changes did indeed happen. A Marine's coming out undetected catapult. We'll see if Marine is able to get some eyes on it before these gnolls move in. He does get a ninja out, which is going to start chipping away at it, but the catapult does get built. In come the gnolls. The gnolls are going to try to focus down the ninja. If the ninja dies, the shadow dies along with it. One ninja goes down, a second goes down, there's only one left. It looks like Marine opted to go for smaller units on this map. I don't think that was a very smart choice unless he was planning on doing some sort of a ninja hound all in, but it is completely getting blown up by this tower rush. A bat does come out, but Marine still calls GG, so Puny is up 2-0. And now we're moving on to Sage's Valley. Puny just needs one more win to drive this thing home. I gotta think that Marine is starting to get nervous, starting to feel like his back is against the wall. We'll see if the response is to get hyper aggressive or to play more conservatively. So far, both these players have very similar opens, both sending out a worker scout. Puny scout goes out just a tad before Marine's. Marine does turn his scout around and is now sending out hounds to scout, so Puny's scout gets shut down by these hounds, and then Puny looks like he's going to send out a Viking, so both players are going to kind of get shut down on the scout. Both players left completely in the dark, and both players going for a 1 barracks, 1 gas expand. The second gas goes down for both players at exactly the same time. Again, we're seeing some more deck changes. Puny with Vikings and Wolf Riders and Spears, Harpies, and some Shadow Fighters. Still not sure what Marine is working with, but we already saw some Hounds, Snipers. I can see a Goblin Scientist there, a Druid, and it looks like also some Shadow Fighters. I'm unsure if opting for an extra unit over a tower is aggressive or conservative. I guess you could say conservative because you're more than likely going to have somewhat of a counter for anything that Puny throws at you if you have a smart, 6 units selected, or maybe it's aggressive. Maybe there's some sort of combination that Marine feels like Puny cannot shut down. Marine is going for base number 3 and trying to police that top 12 o'clock location. Snipers kind of trading off some owls here. We're going to get ourselves an engagement. Poison goes down, but the druids are able to cancel it out. However, Whirlwind plus Fireball is going to be too much for those druids to handle. The Vikings and Marine coming in, killing the scientist. Both players investing a lot into army right now, so this battle could weigh heavily on the outcome. Marine, though, luckily is working on base number 3, getting it saturated. Puny does have a worker sitting there waiting to start base number 3, but in a game like this where a lot is invested early in army, the better economy generally is what wins. Marine here was going for that barracks, gets spooked, pulls back, and is now starting the castle, so we're going to have a major battle here up for 12 o'clock, which is a huge power location. The snipers are putting in work, the druids are doing their job and keeping those snipers healthy. Wolf Riders alone are not going to get the trick done. That Goblin Scientist is going to try to block the Wolf Riders into the main base, but misses the gravity force field. Puny is able to get his army out, but not before losing his third base, so Marine is way ahead at the moment for the first time in this series. These Hounds and Vikings are going to be very effective against the Wolf Riders. There is a Harpy out, which can help, but Marine already has this 12 o'clock location up. He's starting to build workers, going to get it saturated. Things are looking very good for Marine at the moment. These Druids, which used to be one of the least used units, got a recent buff and are now one of the most used units. Their healing abilities can all but just cancel out damage spells, keeping your units fresh, giving them really good value. And their Tree of Life rune essentially works like a healing tower. So maybe that was Marine's line of thinking here. Rather than a tower, he's going to add the druids and give himself some extra healing. Puny trying to push up on this hill, but the scientist really doing the job. And GG, Marine finally takes a game. So Puny still up 2-1, but Marine's still in it. If Marine wins here, then we go to a game 5, so anything can happen. And now we are on to Hell Valley, which is one of my favorite 1v1 maps. You've probably heard me say it before. I like it so much because it's not super tiny, but it's not super big, and there's also just a ton of resources. So you can really play this map however you want. You see a lot of style clashing happening on this map. You can rush, you can play macro, you can use big units, you can use small units. PunyRay was trying to get a tower up there to quickly snipe down an expansion from Marine, but Marine blows it up. Both players putting down an expansion at the same time. However, Puny does have Chrono, so Puny is going to be able to get it saturated. So we're kind of back to a game 1 scenario where Marine's going to have to keep up with that expanding economy. We'll see what the unit compositions are for each of them in a minute, but so far we see Snipers, Hounds, and Vikings from Marine, and Puny, Bats, Hounds, and Vikings. Scientists coming out from Marine. It looks like Marine is keeping the same deck from the last match, which can't blame him there. He had some very good success, and it looks like PunyRay went back to the deck he was using on map number 1, which is closer to a deck that I would probably play on a map like this. So we're going to get a bit of that style clashing where Puny is going to go for the very speedy macro, while Marine is going to go for more of a tactical micro approach with the scientists and snipers, and the druids going to keep his units healed. We see here that he's doing all of that just kind of expertly, keeping his units healed. He's putting down those force fields, able to take down that third castle from Puny. And even though Puny hits a very decent bat bomb, the units are just flowing in from Marine. Puny invested a lot in that third castle early, and Marine opted to go army. Now Marine has the third castle up and going, so just like that, it looks like Marine's going to be ahead in economy, despite the fact that he invested in army first, and we're going to go to game number 5. As Puny calls GG what feels like pretty quick, but if you're keeping track of the resources, it was all but over. So here we are on a newer map. It is also one of my favorites, called Swamp. Nice little rainy. I live and grew up out in the swamp, so this one kind of hits close to home. I love the layout of resources. I love the little corridors in the middle. Yeah, I've just had some really interesting fights on this map, so let's see what these players have in store for it. Like I said, it's game 5, winner takes all. PunyRay has a barracks a little bit out in front of his base, not unheard of on this map. You do kind of want to get to that lower level pretty quick just to make sure that no one's cheesing you. Both players opting to go for an expansion at about the same time. This map's deceptively large, so you can pretty safely get your second castle up and going unless somebody just blindly commits to a rush, which, hey, that's not unheard of. Just make sure you scout, which both players are getting some owls out to do some scouting. Puny working with some spearmen, some goblin scientists, some shadow fighters, necromancers, and slayers, which are gaining a little bit of popularity. They're pretty effective against tide commanders, against druids. Probably that the usage of the druids is what convinced them to use the slayers, which I'll explain that in a bit, because now we have a dropship coming in with some hounds and Vikings. Puny does scope it out. He's got that owl sitting there, and so his scientists are going to pop down some force fields to try to protect his workers while his tower does the job. Also, Marine sending in some units to clean up a tower that Puny put in the bottom right base. Puny going up to grab base number 3. With Chrono, so both players advancing at kind of the same rate, but here comes Marine with some hounds and snipers, trying to push in, trying to delay Puny, but down comes that blizzard. He does get the delay though. He kills the worker. His hounds are chipping away at the castle. We'll see if he cancels it. He sends in another worker, which is going to get killed. So Marine successfully gets the delay, but you could say Puny definitely won the first engagement. However, that one lone goblin scientist was able to hold off the forces of Puny. So kind of, I guess you could say, a stalemate. Both players regrouping, both players building up their third base, putting up some defenses, laying out some barracks around the map to get more vision. Cool move from Marine, using that dropship to put some snipers up above that hill, which will give them just some vision that Puny won't have unless he has an owl. Marine here going for another expansion. Puny moving his army across the map, but Marine snipers have high ground there, so he moves back around this little ledge right here. And here we go. This is what those slayers are so good for. He's able to use that hook and suck up and kill all of the snipers. Marine just invested a lot in that castle and is going to call GG. Congratulations, PunyRay. You are the winner of the Conqueror League. Please do not spend that 300,000 won all in one place. That's pretty much going to sum it up for this video. Can't wait for the next league. Thanks so much for watching. Please continue, like, subscribe, all that nonsense. And I will holler at y'all next time. Later.